Okay, you're going to learn a new type of graph, graphing exponential functions. Y equals 4, and then put a caret symbol so you know what the operation is to the x power. This is not a linear function, okay, because the x is to a power. It's an exponent function. This is how exponent functions need to be done. I'm going to do it the long way, and then I'm going to show you a nice, easy way to do it very quickly. Do your 2 through -2 thing, okay? So 4 to the second, and then 4, just put 4 to the x on all these, okay? Just like you normally would. You can put the caret sign if you want. So I'm going to put a 2 in there, okay? 4 to the second, that means 4 times 4. It's not 8, it's 16. 4 to the 1 is 4. Anything to the 0 power is 1, okay? Now 4 to the -1, go on the scratch paper I gave you. Now remember how you deal with the negative exponent. You put a 1 over it, make it positive. 4 to the first is 4, so that would be 1/4. Now put -2. So 4 to the -2 power, put a 1 over it so you can make it a positive exponent, and 4 times 4 is 16. It is impossible to get a, they'll all be positives, okay, at that point. Now here's a way you can figure this out a lot quicker. You'll do your 2, 1, 0 just like normal. And if you know 2 gave you an output of 16, -2 just gives you the reciprocal. So you can just put a 1 over the 16 and flip it. Now when you get to the -1, okay, when you put in 1 you got 4. When you put in -1 you got 1/4. So you can really just end up flipping it. And that's what I'm going to be doing on the next few problems. Now if you're not good at graphing fractions, divide them. 1 divided by 4, 0.25. Just put a parentheses next to that. And then 1 divided by 16, 0.06. Now I have to get all the way to 16 on y, okay? So we're going to number up by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, okay? 1s is not going to get me there. So 216. But on x, I'm still going to go by 1s, okay? So I go 2 and then -1, -2. I don't care if you number it or not. So 216, I go to 2 on x, 16 on y, okay? 1, 4, I go to 1 on x, 4 on y. 0, 1. 0 on x is in the middle, 1's halfway up. Now you're like, how do you graph decimals, Hermson? Well, you go to -1 first, and then you just go a little teeny bit up. -2, 0.06, you go -2 and up teeny, even a teenier bit, okay? And that's how you graph that. Now, you need to go this way. You get infinitely higher that way. This way you just get infinitely closer to the x-axis. You do not cross into the bottom part, okay? It just goes up against the line, okay? Gets infinitely closer. And here's why it just gets infinitely closer. Don't put this down, just watch. -2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say I put -7 in for x, okay? So 4 to the -7th power. 1 over, make it +7. That's what that is. 4 caret 7. And then I'll divide. So all that happens is you just get even smaller. You don't get into the negatives, you just get even closer to the 0, okay? So exponential functions always look like this. You'll eventually, this is called your asymptote here. We don't really use that term that much in Algebra 1. In Algebra 2 we use it a lot, but don't cross the middle line. Okay. Next one. Y equals 1/5 to the x power. Now this is how you should be doing it to save time. You just got to remember the process. I'm going to do 2 and negative 2 at the same time, okay? So I'm going to go 1/5 to the second power, and then 1/5 to the, just put x powers, I guess. And then here we're going to put 2, here we're going to put negative 2. So 1/5 to the second power, you just write 1/5 times 1/5. So you times the tops. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 5 is 25. So 1/25. Now, if that's 1/25, then down here you just flip it. Okay, you don't even need to do the math. Okay, you know what it is right away. It's a reciprocal. You just flip it to 25/1. That's all you do. Okay. Now we're going to do 1 and negative 1 at the same time. Okay. So 1/5 to the x, 1/5 to the x. So now 1, I'm going to put 1 in. Okay. 1/5 to the first is just 1/5. Now if I put negative 1 for the exponent, all it does is flip it to 5/1. Okay. That's all it does. It flips what you got up here with the positive. With the negative power, it flips the other way. Okay. And then 1/5 to the x, and it'd be 0. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay. So this is what I got. 1/25, 1/5, 1, 5/1, 25. Now divide those fractions out. 0.04. Put it in parentheses. 0.2. And then 1. 1's good to go. 5 divided by 1 is 5. 25 divided by 1. That's a 5 I put there. 25. Now graph them. So we got to get up to 25. 25 is the highest y you have. So go by 5s. If 2s won't work, which they won't, go by 5s. Stop at 25. We're still going to go by 1s this way. Okay, so 2, 0.04. So I go forward 2, and then 0.04 is just very close to the x-axis. 1, 0.2, so I go to 1, 0.2 is up a little further, but not by much, okay? 0, 1, remember you're going by 5, so 1's going to be about right there. It's not going to be perfect, I don't care. Negative 1, 5, so I go to negative 1, and then 5's right there. And then negative 2, 25, so I go to negative 2, 25 is right there. And there you go. It goes infinitely higher that way. Now you're like, why are they going in different directions? Well, the base of the exponent, the 4, that's bigger than 1, so it's a growth. But now the base of the exponent, 1/5, the fraction 1/5 is less than 1, so that's a decay. Okay. You don't need to write that, but yeah. Okay, keep watching. Y equals negative 2 times 1/3 to the x power. Now, put a caret and just circle that. You're going to worry about the negative 2 later, okay? Not right now. I said not right now. Make your x column so it's thinner than the y. You'll need workspace on the y. 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2. Don't worry about the negative 2. Just write 1/3 to the x power. We're going to do 2 and negative 2 at the same time, okay? Do the positive 2 and the negative 2 at the same time. So x is 2. So 1/3 times itself, that's what the second power means. It's just 1 times 1 and 3 times 3. It's 1/9. Gee, if that was 1/9, this is going to be 9/1. I don't even need to write anything, okay? I know it's that. Now do the first power, so 1/3 to the first power. That's 1/3. So if the positive first power was 1/3, the negative first power is 3 over 1. Okay? You just flip it. And to the 0 power, that's 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Now, here's what you have to do now. You had a factor in front, a -2. So you're going to multiply all of these answers by -2. All of them. Okay, so 1/9, 1 ABC 9 times -2. So -2/9 equals. Okay, 1/3 times -2. Negative is 2/3. 1 times -2 is -2. 3 over 1 times, if you have a 1 on the bottom, just get rid of it. 3 times -2 is -6. It has to be on bottom, though, not on top. You can't get rid of it if it's on top. 9 times -2 is -18. So we got that. Now divide those fractions. So -2 divided by 9, -0.22. And then 1/3, or -2 divided by 3 is -0.67. Just round to the 100. Okay, so we have to get all the way down to -18, but now they're all negatives. The reason why they're all negatives is because we multiplied by a negative. So now they'll all be down here. Okay, so -18, ones won't work. Will twos? Yep, barely. If twos don't work, go by fives. Ones, twos, fives, tens. Okay, I have it on the board. Okay, and we're still going to be going by ones this way. Okay, so 2, -0.22. So you go to 2 and then you go down a teeny little bit. You go down because it's negative. 1, -0.67. So I go to 1 and then a teeny bit, but not quite as teeny as the other one. Okay. Then 0, -2. So you go down to -2. Connect them as you make them. -1, -6. So -1, -6. And then -2, -18. So there you go. Having that negative, and then this just, so it goes infinitely lower that way. Here it just gets infinitely closer to the x-axis. Don't cross the line though. I'm going to mark it wrong if you cross the middle line. Okay, y equals 5 times 2 to the x. Just worry about the 2 to the x when you start the problem. So 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. So let's do the 2 and the -2, because if I do the 2, I'm going to know the -2 right away when it's an exponential graph. Okay, so 2 to the x, so I'm going to put a 2 in there. Okay, and 2 to the second, that'd be 2 times 2, and that's 4. So if that's a 4, let's put a 1 under it, and then I flip it down here, it'd be 1 over 4. Okay. Okay, 2 to the x. Well, I'll put a 1 in for the x. 2 to the first is 2. Well, then I'm going to be able to do -1 at the same time. Because 2 is 2 over 1, and reciprocate it, flip it, it'd be 1 over 2. And then 2 to the 0 power. 2 to the 0 power is 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay? Now, so you got 4 over 1, 2 over 1, 1, 1 over 2, 4. Well, you have to multiply all of them by 5 now. Times 5, times 5, times 5, times 5 on the half, times 5 on the 1/4. Okay, if you have a 1 on the bottom, you can get rid of it. 4 times 5 is 20. Circle it. 2 over 1 times 5, it's the same as 2 times 5, which is 10. Circle it. 1 times 5 is 5. Then you take 1 over 2 times 5, 2 and 1/2. Okay. Then you take 1/4 times 5, okay? 1 1/4. Now, I'm not going to make these into decimals. I mean, you can if you want. If you want to make the fractions into decimals, you just take 1 divided by 2, but instead of 0.5, it'd be 2.5, okay? Then 1 divided by 4, but instead of 0.25, it's 1.25. You just put a 1 where the zero's at, okay? So we got to make it all the way to 20, okay? 20 is my most extreme. Well, I can't do that by 2's. It's not enough, so I'll go by 5's. Positive, okay? So we label the positive side. I don't need to label the negative side. 5, 10, 15, 20. And 0, 1, 2, -1, -2. So 220, so you go to 220. 110, so you go to 1, then 10. Then 0, 5, you stay in the middle, you go up to 5. -1, 2.5, so -1, 2.5, somewhere there. -2, 1 1/4, right there, okay? So all the graphs pretty much look the same on an exponential function. So you go up, and here you just get closer to the x-axis. You won't ever go to the other side, though. Okay, next problem, y equals 5 to the x power, okay? So all these, if the x is to a power, the only way to do it is with the 2 through -2. So let's do the 2 and the -2 together, okay? So 5 to the x, now put 2 in there, and that means 5 times 5, which is 25. Why don't you put a 1 under that so you can flip it to 1 over 25. And no, it doesn't go from positive to negative. It stays the same sign. Don't do that, okay? Okay, so we got those figured out. Now do the 1 with the -1. Is 5 to the x. I'm going to be putting a 1 in there. 5 to the first is 5. Now why don't you put a 1 under it to make it a fraction and flip it to 5 to 1/5, okay? Then anything to the 0 power is 1. Now, do we have a factor in front of the 5 that we have to multiply by? No, we don't. Okay, so we don't multiply. This is what we go with. 25 over 1's 25. 5 over 1's 5, and then 1's 1. 1/5, if you want to make it a decimal, be my guess, 0.2. Just divide the top by the bottom. 1 divided by 25, 0.04. Okay, better go by 5's. Going up because it's they're all positives. Okay, so 225. Now the x, we're still going to go by 1's. Okay, so I go to 225. 1, 5. I go to 1, then 5. 0, 1. I stay in the middle, go up to 1. And then -1, don't overthink these decimals. You just get closer and closer to the middle, okay? Infinitely closer. Never crossing it, but just closer. Okay, so up, and here you just get closer and closer. You never actually touch it. Well, you might touch it, but just don't cross it. Okay, y equals 1/2 times 1/7 to the x power. Remember, you just circle the factor that's got the x power. You'll worry about the 1/2 after you calculate all your 1/7 to the x powers. That's the best way to do it without driving yourself insane. Okay. So parentheses, remember we do 2 and -2 together. Once I get 2, I'll know -2 like that. 1/7, okay, to the second. So that's 1/7 times 1/7. That's 1 over 49. Well, if that's 1 over 49, we're going to have 49 over 1 here. It just flips. Okay, now we do 1 and -1. Okay, so to the x power, and we put 1 in. Okay, now 1 goes in for x. That's just 1/7. First power is easy. So the negative first power is just going to give me 7 over 1. Anything to the 0 power, you can put 1. Now, you need to times all of these results by 1/2 before you graph them. So times by the factor of 1/2. All the outputs are times by 1/2. Okay, so 1/49th times 1/2. 1/98th. That's pretty small. Okay, it's going to be 1/14th. I mean, you can use a calculator if you want, but it's really just timesing the tops and the bottoms. 1/14th. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. Okay, and then 7 times 1/2, 7 over 1. You don't really need the 1, but you still need to times 7 by 1/2, and that's going to be 3.5. And you can get rid of the 1 on the bottom. It's just 49 times 1/2. 24.5, okay? Now, if you don't like fractions, you just divide the top and bottom. 1 divided by 98, 0.01. Circle that. 1 divided by 14, 0.07. 1/2, that's 1 divided by 2, 0.5, okay? You can divide 1 by 2, but instead of 0.5, it's 3.5. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5, but it would be 24.5. Okay, now you got to make it all the way to 24.5, so you better go by 5s here. So 2 up just a teeny little bit. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Positive side. And then 1, 0.07, you just creep up a little bit. 0, 0.5, you just creep up even further. Okay? -1, 3.5. Now, -1, 3.5, you can go up a little bit further, but since you're going by 5s, not a whole lot. Then -2, 24.5. So I go -2, and then 24.5 would be right there. These don't have to be a work of art. I just need to see that you know the concept. So that way is where you get infinitely closer to x. This way is where you just get infinitely more extreme. Okay, y equals -4 times 6 to the x power. So again, you just worry about the 6 to the x power first. 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. So we do the 2 and the -2 together. 6 to the x, but x is 2. So 6 times 6, 36. Okay. Put a 1 under that so it can be reciprocated to 1 over 36. Okay. Now 1, 6 to the x power, but now the 1 replaces the x. 6 to the first is 6. Put a 1 under it. Then you can reciprocate it with the -1 to 1/6. Then anything to the 0 power is 1. You can just put 1 right there right now. 6 caret x caret 0, that's 1. Okay, now you need to times all these by -4 though, because unfortunately there's another factor there. Okay, so we don't really need to worry about the 1, I'd say. Okay, on the bottom, 36 times -4 is -144. Circle it. That's what you're graphing with the 2. Then take out the 1 on the bottom. 6 times -4 is -24. That's the output for the 1. Okay, 1 times -4 is -4. That's the output with the 0. 1, 6 times -4, -2/3. You can make that a decimal then if you want. -2 divided by 3, -0.67. Then 136, you can't get rid of the 1 when it's on top. You need to account for it. -1/9. Then if you want to turn it into a decimal, -0.11. Now we got to get all the way to negative 144 on the y-axis, so let's go by 20s, okay? Negative 20, negative 40, negative 60, negative 80, negative 100, negative 120, negative 140, okay? And negative 160. So 2, negative 144, so 1, 2, 2, be somewhere in there, okay? 1, negative 24, so 1, negative 24, 0, negative 4, okay? You just go right in there since you're going by 20s. Look, the other ones you just get closer to the axis. That's all that does, okay? There you have it. Okay, 3 times 1/2 to the x power. 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2. So 1/2, remember we're doing 2 and negative 2 together. Okay. To the x power, put 2 in for x, and that means you take 1/2 times 1/2. That's going to be 1 over 4. Okay, so if that's 1 over 4, down here we're going to have 4 over 1. It's always reciprocated, not negative 4 over 1. Okay, then 1/2 to the x power, and just put 1 in. Okay, 1/2 to the first is 1/2. When it's to the first, it's just the base. Flip it to 2 over 1. Okay, so you do 2 at a time. Then 1/2 to the x power, x is 0. 1/2 to the 0 power is 1. Okay. Let's get now we have to times all of them by 3 though. I know that's annoying, but you got to do it. Okay. 1/4 times 3. That's going to be 3/4. You can divide that into a decimal if you want. 0.75. So that's the output with 2. Okay, 1/2 times 3. 1 and 1/2. If you want to divide 1 by 2, that's fine. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5, but with the 1 in front of it, it's going to be 1.5. 1 times 3 is 3. You can cross out the 1. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, you got to get all the way up to 12. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Positive. I would graph the 12 first, to be honest with you. It might be easier. So go backward 2, up 12. Then you can see where the extreme ends at. Negative 1, 6. 0, 3. Okay, 1, 1.5, so 1.5 somewhere there, and then it just gets closer to the line, okay? Okay, there you go.